So I watched episode 6 of Pokimane's recent podcast. This is a new podcast. I've never seen any of the other episodes. And I did this because I'm in search of something, the Holy Grail. And what that Holy Grail is the existence of one good Pokimane video. I've yet to find it. I've yet to see it. I've been aware of her for many, many years, right? And I've never seen her do anything entertaining. Occasionally, yes, she'll collaborate with somebody and be in an entertaining video, but she basically never brings anything to the table. She's not funny, she's not smart, she's not interesting. She doesn't really do anything new or anything that hasn't been done. Now, granted, she was one of the very first female Twitch streamers, and because of that, she got this huge fan base of male fans that are loyal to her to this day, and she's gained new fans of that type. So her podcast episode is her giving advice to others about how to deal with hate, and mostly online hate, which she gets a lot of because she's one of the biggest streamers on the internet. So it's so bizarre because it is so specific to her, not only in the amount of criticism she gets online for being a very large public figure online, but the specific criticisms that she gets. Now, all of these criticisms she dismisses as simply hate, and she talks about this story of somebody that she was friends with as a child, and that person says, "Oh, I like to trash talk other people because it makes me feel good." And she talks about how this stunned her and amazed her, and she's clearly taken that and just ran with it her whole life, right? She is so dismissive of any criticism, and even in this video she just invalidates it. And I feel like that is the worst possible advice you could give somebody who's receiving criticism, right? Just to dismiss it all as hate. And she tries to dismiss her own criticisms that she receives. Specifically about the criticisms that she gets from her haters about them telling her that she is only popular as a content creator because she is a woman and because she is good looking. And she says, well, there's so many more good looking women on Twitch or wherever. Yes, true, of course, definitely. But you don't understand, you did it first. You were the first to cultivate this simp following. No one's suggesting that you're the hottest woman on Twitch. No one would ever suggest that. It's just you got there first, right? There's tons of early YouTubers where they just got there early. Or Vine stars or TikTok stars. Look at somebody like Logan Paul. Now, Logan Paul has some genuine athletic ability, and he's actually charismatic, but that charisma never really shined until he started doing a podcast, right? His early content was mostly just goofy, prank style. Not really prank, not pranks specifically, but that kind of style. And he was just early on Vine, right? It's just ridiculous that she acts like that criticism's completely invalid. So that's not really a good way to deal with the hate, is to just say this criticism is completely worthless because such and such ridiculous justification as to how to invalidate it. That doesn't make any sense. Your content's not good, Pokimane. You're terrible. You are you're not in the top 10,000 of streamers that are good streamers on Twitch. You wouldn't even make the top 10,000. You're not funny, you're not entertaining, you're not interesting. You don't educate yourself on any of the topics you ever talk about. You're terrible at giving advice. You're the last person anybody should ever be taking advice from. I'm sorry, but it's true. Maybe you could give some financial advice or what it's like to semi-run a streamer organization, stuff that you've actually sort of have specialty knowledge of. But dealing with haters, you're one of the worst at it. You're known for being bad at dealing with your hate that you get online. Like, just recently with the Cookie Monster stuff, you then, and even in this very video, you talk about this hate you get as like it being completely invalid, and it just makes no sense, and you just trash talk anybody who would criticize you, even when it's completely legitimate, even when it's something as arbitrary as the price of these cookies you are selling is a little bit high. Like, like people literally just say, hey, these are some expensive cookies, and you come out and say, oh, like, just tell me if you're a broke boy. Like, just genuinely trash talking your fan base, and you've done it multiple times, and you pretend like this criticism doesn't get to you, and it clearly does. Like, she says, oh, well, all that criticism, it's just good publicity. There's such thing as good publicity. And all those people who hate me, they're wannabe streamers or this and that, and they're just jealous. It's like, there is a tiny bit of jealousy in there, but their criticisms are genuine. You don't deserve the popularity and fame and fortune that you've gotten from what you've done. You were just very early at it, and you put a lot of effort in it. You've worked hard, you've done a lot of streams, you've made a lot of content. Sure, definitely, no question. But is your content good? No, it's never been good. You've never made one good video. You've never had one, like, really good live stream. The only live streams you've ever made that are good are collaborations with other people who are good live streamers, who have gotten a good, entertaining performance, let's call it a performance, out of you, right? Like, you're not the talent. But it's so weird, because she's like, oh, well, it's like she completely doesn't understand that she also gives attention. Yes, her haters are giving her attention and views, and there's like a positive aspect to it, but it's so clear. Why does it get to her every time? Why is like a third of Pokimane's content that she's ever made her addressing criticism or hate that she's gotten, right? Like, that's weird. That's weird that it's such a big obsession of hers that she focuses so much on it. It's because she has nothing else. She's never been entertaining at all. So it's just this crutch that she consistently leans on, and just goes through this cycle and has to tell you again and again how this hate doesn't get to her. But if it doesn't get to you, then why is it like a third of your content? It makes no sense. This is some of the worst advice I've ever seen given on YouTube, because it's so non-applicable to most people, because most people aren't this like mega popular streamer, and it's bad advice. Just, if you go throughout your life and any criticism you ever get, you just dismiss as like pointless hate of some lunatic, like, then you'll never learn. You'll never be able to reflect on yourself. You'll never grow as a person, because you're just this like close-minded, like sociopathic person, which she clearly is, right? Because think about how big of a scumbag you have to be to sit there and criticize large portions of your fan base for their legitimate criticism. Like, people who are dedicated to watching you, right? Because first of all, who would have ever given a crap about her overpriced cookies, right? It's only would have ever been the people who would have considered buying them. Who would have ever considered buying Pokimane's cookies than like a hardcore Pokimane fan? And like, at this point in time, she's never made one entertaining video in her life. Who would be think about how down bad you have to be as a person to be a hardcore Pokimane fan, or even just a Pokimane fan. It's absurd. It's just, she just gives such bad advice and just like talks in circles and tries to justify her like closed-mindedness and lack of like self-awareness and maturity. It's bizarre. And once again, it's just another garbage Pokimane video.